Hey, Anne Claire, how are you today?
Hi, Meg. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm noticing your background's a little different. Where are you?
I'm in London. So,
Mm.
yes, I'm in my little hotel room with my teeny tiny little bed. Is it made? Yeah, it's made. I can move.
Oh, how cute.
So, yeah, it's so exciting. I'm meeting clients, meeting professionals that I work with, and it's just lots of fun, honestly. And as you can see, it's very sunny today. So, fully enjoying the weather as well.
Wow. And that's pretty
Yeah.
rare for London, right? The sun.
I mean, yes. I mean, I'm from Brussels, so it's not exactly like I come from a sunshine, city. So this is very similar, comparable. So it's not like I'm loving it, obviously, but it's not like I would have been heartbroken if it had been grayer and rainier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also, for anyone who doesn't know, I actually studied in London for one semester a little over 10 years ago. And so when I arrived here on Monday and I was moving around the city, I just had this most ridiculous, the dumb, happy smile on your face. I was just like loving it. I was just like, I don't know. Anyway, so I would look like an absolute idiot walking around the streets with like big banana smile and just having like feeling it, really feeling it. So yeah, it's nice. I have a lot of good memories in the city.
Didn't you meet your husband when you were traveling in London 10 years ago?
Yeah. That may or may not be part of the reason I have good memories in the city.
That is awesome. That's like the cutest thing ever. I've never been to London, but it's on my list. I think the reason why I haven't gone is because I'm worried that the weather's going to be crap when I go there. And
Yeah, but at the same time, of course, if the weather is nice, it's fantastic. But you don't need the weather to be like amazing to enjoy London. It's
yeah,
such an amazing city in and out of itself that you wouldn't have a crap experience without the good weather. Also, I would probably be there too, because let's be real, we just hop on a train and come. And you and I know other people who are here. So we would be having a great time anyway.
that's true. We have a nice little recovery collective hub of
Yeah.
folks in the UK and also the London area. And so we would have kind of a fun time. Okay, I'm going to keep that on my radar for this summer when I go back to Europe for our retreat. Maybe I'll fly into London instead of Portugal and do a little bit
Why
of a
not? And then
rock.
we can go together to Portugal.
Oh my gosh, jet setting sisters, here we go. And then we'll end up on the
No.
beach in Portugal
Of course we
planning our
will.
prepping for our retreat. Oh, can't wait. Bring me to June 2023. Be so nice.
I'm so excited also because we are officially opening the signups for our retreat today. After this, we'll have a little info session for humans who are already in the Recovery Collective, announcing all of the stuff, all of the data, all the dates, all the goods, all the, bits and bobs. And I'm so excited. So excited.
I know. I'm really excited too. It's always fun to like hype everyone up and see who's ready to come this year. And, for those of you listening, this is going to be an offering we have through the spring. So next time the collective is open and you can become a member, if you want to join us on the retreat, you can do that as well. So think about it.
I mean, it's a pretty good reason to join.
I mean,
Because
yeah. I mean, come on. We're all hanging out all day on Zoom for like months at a time now. It's really nice to be able to like finally meet people in person and feel their energy. And it can actually enhance the relationship, just meeting a person, you
Mhm.
know.
And it's just there's something different about being in person or on Zoom. And uh, it's just there's something magical about the format of a retreat. And we had the best time last year. And well, this year, last time we did it. And we have so many ideas for next year of things we want to talk about and activities and workshops and whatnot that, yeah, I just like, if I could fast forward to it, I would be quite tempted.
Yes, me too. I think the cool thing this year is that we're doing the theme recovery and beyond. So it's not just going to be recovery focused or as much so as last year. It's more of that personal development, soul work piece that we're trying to integrate. So I think that's going to be even more fulfilling for the attendees. And that'll be a nice change too.
Yeah. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Cannot wait. It will be the best. But we do have a plan. We have some content for the people today.
Yes,
we have
we
a
do.
question that has came in. And I think we should bring this up because it's very important.
Mm-hmm. Well, the question that we received is, what is going all in? And do we recommend going all in when it comes to recovery from an eating disorder?
Well, this is a great question. And I also think we should get very clear on what all in means. And Claire, I feel like you've done some good research on this. So I'm going to hand that over to you to kind of share with the community here. What exactly all in is?
So, I mean, I don't think there is like an official definition. So we're just giving a few like big bullet points of what the approach means in practice. So going all in, theoretically, means giving yourself full permission to eat until you're full, responding to both like hunger cues that are physical and mental. And if you're curious about that, you can watch last week's video because we talked about the difference between physical and mental hunger. Going all in also means no tracking of calories, macros, no meal plan whatsoever. So it's really just eating whatever we feel like until we're full. It also means ditching the scales and any way to sort of like measure or check our bodies. So that also means like measuring tapes, photos, all of those things. But the scales are usually like one of the number one things that people might be using. It means giving up all disordered behaviors, all of them, restricting, purging, binging, whatever it is that is applicable to you. That's what it would mean. And it also means giving yourself full permission to rest. So it's like a hard break from intense movement and like sports, etc. That's the big picture of it. So full permission to eat, full permission to rest, no tracking, no planning of food in any way whatsoever.
Well, it sounds like a fairy tale. It definitely does. Sounds like a dream come true. If I woke up and just went all in, I would be like, it's a miracle, because it's
what do you?
So we do have the dark side, but the spirit of it is
the spirit. Yeah.
The spirit of it is if someone had the courage and the actual ability to do this, that would just be the path to healing, right? It would be a pretty clear path. So I really do, and I know you agree with me on this, the spirit of this idea of all in is really amazing. And I think there is a possibility that it could happen, but it feels like a unicorn situation, like a very rare, thing to do.
Yeah. The thing is, so I agree with you. The commitment, right, that underlies this approach, fantastic, because we need commitment in recovery. That's actually one of the hardest things sometimes that you and I may be talking about with clients. It's like, I don't feel motivated to do the thing. It's hard. So like this energy that this approach has sounds so nice, right? And it is like, yay.
Yeah.
And there are other positives like in this approach in absolute terms, like the fact that it sort of normalizes the respecting and honoring your all different types of hungers. Yay, because you're going to have to do that at some point in recovery. The fact that it also helps to normalize, bigger portions, whether that is, bigger than you were having or bigger for now, that's also a big yay. You can see that the sunshine is like starting to shine through. Sorry. So we were saying there are many little bits that are positive about All In terms of what it suggests, like the ideas that it's bringing forward. It may also, for someone who is looking to restore, it may help to weight restore faster. Yes. Because sometimes when we have, often if you work based on a meal plan and with like a step-by-step approach, you're actually going to be increasing it little by little. So it may actually provide that a bit faster. Yeah. So there are positives to All In, but like you said, the execution of it as a coach, I'm like, and someone with lived experience, very skeptical.
Yeah. So this is the way I see it. First of all, I want to echo everything you said, like everything. The definition I embrace. I love that it gives full permission to rest, full permission to eat, getting rid of all the behaviors. Like, I love that. But when I think about it, what this requires is like all of your fears and resistance to suddenly not have a pull on you anymore. Mm-hmm. So how is that a thing? Like, you spend perhaps years in your eating disorder full of fear about certain things. And then one day you say to yourself, I'm going to go all in. And then what happens to the fear? Are you just suddenly able to overcome the fear? And I find that's the part that is hard for me to buy into. I guess you can fight the fear and do all in, but I just know how difficult it is for someone to just never listen to those fears ever again. Like, sometimes what I've seen when somebody wants to go all in is maybe they'll go all in for a weekend and then they restrict and the fear takes over again, and then they compensate and it turns into this push-pull instead of this consistent all in experience, which requires going all in forever until you're getting better. Right? Yeah. So that's where I find it kind of difficult.
I so agree. Like, I could not agree more. Eating disorders are not just about food and weight and your body. Eating disorders have functions. And it is because of those functions that it's really hard to challenge the things in practice. That's why when you and I work with clients, we try to figure out, how can we make this tolerable? How can we help you get to this goal and make it achievable, and for you not to swing back to the opposite? I don't know, if you give yourself permission to eat, to then swing back to restriction, for example, or if you allowed yourself to eat however much you needed because you were hungry, for you not to then go and purge what you just ate. That, I don't see how that happens in this All In. It's sort of like, there's no fears, like, just do it. And it's like, I don't know, like, it's not, I don't see that happening. I'm not sure how and when you would be getting the support that you need to cope with the distress, that comes with challenging fear foods, food rules, and other things related to your disordered behaviors. So in theory, yeah, but in practice, I don't quite see how that works.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you. I think, like, if I'm thinking about when All In could work, maybe it's when you're kind of getting really, really strong and doing more traditional recovery stuff. Like, you've been working with the team, you've been processing your own fat phobia, you've been, processing those fears, you've been learning all the coping skills. Maybe when you've reached that tipping point of this is no longer worth it, maybe that's when you can go all in, because that's when you have the skills you need to, put the eating disorder out of its job, as they say. But even then, like, it is tough because it does serve a purpose. The eating disorder does serve a purpose. And this approach kind of ignores that fact.
Now, beyond that, I do want to point out, in theory, it's nice to listen to your hunger and fullness cues. But many humans in eating disorder recovery are not in touch with their hunger and fullness cues. So it's a nice idea to say, from now on, you will give yourself permission to respond to any hunger cue that you feel, and you will stop when you are actually full and satisfied. Okay, nice concept. But when you're in the depths of your eating disorder, there is no such thing as an intuition to which you can connect. You might not feel hungry when you're actually hungry. There is a disconnect, right, between your body and your head, right? So when are you going to be eating if you're like, well, I'm not hungry, so it's fine. And for some, that's going to be restriction. Also, I often have that discussion with clients where they're like, but I feel full and my meal plan says I'm supposed to eat more. And it's like, that's because that's not real, genuine fullness. Like, as much as there's like extreme hunger in recovery, there's also such a thing as, I don't know if it's called extreme fullness, but I'm going to call it extreme fullness, where you feel full really fast, right? If you have been restricting for a long time, you eat a little bit and you're going to feel like done. And it's like, no, that's actually not enough for you.
Yeah.
It's not actually adequate for you. So responding to this hunger and fullness thing, nice in theory, but in practice, how does that happen for those of us who don't have that like communication going with their bodies? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this definition was created maybe for people who have like maybe very disordered eating and they're not in that place where they've lost their hunger cues completely. And I do want to add on to that I see this all the time in the ED space. One of the common hangups of eating disorder recovery is latching onto the idea of intuitive eating and then letting the eating disorder kind of hijack that. Be like, oh, well, if you want to do intuitive eating, you have to respond to all your hunger and fullness. And then in reality, you're not getting any hunger cues or fullness, but hunger cues aren't there. So you're going to say, well, I have to be intuitive and I'm just not going to respond. I'm not going to eat today because I'm just not hungry intuitively. And that's where the eating disorder likes to like sink its claws in.
And as you and I know, intuitive eating is not a hunger fullness diet. Hunger and fullness are this much of intuitive eating, and there's this much around it. And in the other chapters of it, or principles, because they have 10 principles, the other ones are there for a reason, such as it's not because you're not hungry that you're not supposed to eat, because your needs have not changed. So you're still going to honor your body based on your basic nutritional knowledge. So again, like you said, our eating disorders can definitely hijack those principles. And it's really important not to let that happen, which is why also, please seek support for these sorts of things. A specialized dietitian typically is a great person to work with. And I am quite confident to say that none of them would recommend going all in, and all of them would start with raves. So, and actually, I do want to add, if you have been restricting for a significant amount of time, there are actually like medical risks if you start just eating however you want. Like there is such a thing as refeeding syndrome. And for some humans, there is a genuine need to be followed closely by a medical professional, a dietitian, and to really do this at a certain pace with a certain logic. And going all in would actually be the opposite of helpful. So just adding that there, because sometimes people don't realize or are not aware of how much their bodies might simply not be ready to just go all in.
Yeah, I completely
do all the
agree.
things.
I was just going to say that I don't think that's a well-known fact for people out in like maybe basic recovery spaces, is that if you were to jump in and go all in, but you're in kind of like a extremely deprived, malnourished state, it's extremely dangerous and you're at risk of refeeding syndrome. So if you are considering going all in, definitely consult with a dietitian before you just do that, because it could have some potential consequences there that could be more harmful than helpful. So anyway, there's just so much with this going all in thing. And you guys watching, let us know in the comments if you've ever tried it and what happened. I can look at this definition and know that there were elements of this that I did in my own recovery, but I don't think there was a part of me that could have hit all of these points overnight, right? Like
there's no way. I would have done the pendulum swing over and over again.
Yeah.
Because it would have just been not tolerable, honestly. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure for some people it happened because some people have documented that for themselves. And I'm super happy for them, but I'm skeptical as to how applicable it is for most.
I agree with you. All right, Ann Clara, I think we need to wrap this one up, but I just want to say thank you. And I hope
Thank
you have a
you.
nice time in London, seeing all your,
Thanks.
colleagues and all the amazing people you know there. So, well, I hope you have a wonderful time in London, and
Thank you.
I'm envious, and I wish I could be there with you.
We'll see each other soon enough, I'm sure.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Bye.